Hi, it's Brandon from High Anxiety. Welcome to High Anxiety. This is Brandon, and I am here at a movie theater, and we are here for John Carpenter's The Thing. And you might be asking, hey, that's a really old movie, and I would say, yes, it is.
Hey guys, you ever seen that really old movie?
And today's like the anniversary of it. I don't know which year. I'll put it right here. And the thing is that I've never seen it, and I love horror movies, and I know about The Thing, and I've wanted to buy the figure of The Thing from NECA for a long time, and I don't really know why, since I don't really have never seen the movie. I know the basic premise of the movie, but I think Ty like asked me about it, and I started talking about it, and he was like, so maybe I don't know it. So this is a brand new movie for me. I'm excited. I know it's highly regarded. I don't know if it's highly regarded like in like a campy way or a realistic, like this is amazing way. So I don't know. But I'm going in right now. Bye. All right, welcome back to High Anxiety. This is Brandon and this is Ty. Hey, so we just saw The Thing. I just saw it for the first time.
The Thing!
Hi. There's Dan.
I'm back.
It's Leopold!
Hi everybody. It's not dark, so we couldn't do the light thing.
Yeah. You can
Last
still do
time.
it.
No, it's just...
It doesn't work the same. It doesn't work the same.
Wait.
You had the hand thing.
I look like the thing on the cover of.
The sound effect, whenever there was the old school like sci-fi sound effect that's used in so many different things. Sorry to jump right into a technical thing, but that's just, I love it.
Okay, so I've never seen that movie before.
So we came to Showcase Cinemas for the
Is it the
30th?
30th or 30th?
40th, for the 40th anniversary showing of John Carpenter's The Thing, which is a remake of the 60s or 50s movie,
I
The
believe.
Thing from Outer Space, which I actually think is a good movie in its
I
own
didn't know
right.
that. I'll have to watch that too.
I think now that you've seen this, that would be great. But this is the 1982 remake by John Carpenter, which B had never seen before.
Which is really stupid that I've never seen that. Like how? Like I've seen that chess scene before, and I don't know where.
You have seen
I don't
the
know where
chess
I've
scene
seen it
before?
before. Maybe it's just on like Sci-Fi one night, and I watched it.
I was
and...
staring at you out of the corner of my eye when that scene was about to happen to see your reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And you like shot forward in your seat when it happened.
When?
The chess thing.
No, I'm sorry, chessboard.
Oh.
Like the computer chess.
Oh, you're talking about the
Yeah,
chest.
the chest.
scene.
Chest. Yeah, that was insane. I'd never never seen any of that other than the chessboard. Like
Oh,
the
okay,
computer
gotcha.
chess.
The part where he pours the liquor.
Yeah, that's and I don't know if it was on Sci-Fi Channel one night or like TMC or something.
You saw that first part on
I was like,
boring.
yeah, I was like, this is dumb. Turned it off. I was probably a young dumb kid, but
The first 3 minutes of the movie.
My favorite actor in the whole movie, the good boy dog at the beginning.
Yeah. It was
He's a good
did
boy.
he turn into the alien or was he the victim?
was the alien.
He was the actual alien. So that's why they were
Hidden
trying to
as
kill
the
him.
dog.
That's why they were trying to kill him.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So the Norwegians were actually trying to help us.
So
at the
they made a
beginning of
prequel
that.
movie to this,
and a sequel.
also called The Thing, I think, right?
I believe so.
And except
Still trying to
they
remember
didn't call it John Carpenter's The Thing this time. Let me verify. But yeah, so the prequel shows them finding the ship, and it ends with them chasing the dog.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I like that. But my overall thoughts of the movie, like, I think it was amazing. Like obviously, like some of the effects like don't hold up. Effects are just like so impressive, and I have some like process questions that I'll have to get to in a little bit, but I mean I was like on the edge of my seat the whole movie. Like I loved that movie.
The thing that still holds up for me in the practical effect department is the head disconnecting from the body that turns into the crab with the eye stalks.
How did they do that? Like were the legs like in the floor or something? how did they extend
There's
like that?
We need to watch the documentary.
Yeah,
There is all
documentary.
sorts of.
Yeah, the documentary fills in a lot of that, which is amazing.
Like one of
Some
my
of the
favorite
best practical
one of my
effects.
favorite
Yeah.
accounts to follow is the Stan Winston school.
Yes.
Because they show like all the behind the scenes, like the Jurassic Park things and
Yeah.
Terminator, and like that's like my favorite thing to do is just watch how all these movies were made, and it really is a lost art. Like I mean, there's still like practical effects in movies, but I mean it's just bonkers. What'd you find?
Prequel came out 11 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't think it was 2011. The prequel came
Is it
out. I didn't
good?
think it was
Really?
that long ago.
It seemed like it was 3
Is it okay?
3 to 5
Is
years.
it serviceable?
It's a movie.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie that.
But there's
happened.
also a sequel too,
Now, let me double check on that one.
or is the sequel the prequel?
Let's find out.
So Dan, while he's looking that up, I have a question. Like, okay, so when Blair was like the final form, spoiler, like when he was the monster, is that like the true form, or like because
There is no true form.
so it just does whatever it wants? Because it was saying like we didn't even have enough time to turn into the person, so like. I'm just confused, like because it seems like it was inside them and it was controlling him, but then it exploded, and then that's my only okay. So let's say the dog. Okay, so the dog was a dog, and then it's like head Demigorgon open, and then from there it was like, oh, it's a monster creature, and it said we stopped it from becoming whatever it was going to become.
Yes,
but so it's a dog. Then it turns into the monster like inside out, and then it just turns back to the dog. Like,
No,
it's true form, it's
I
like
think
shedding its skin.
I think it. So this is complete theory. So don't, and please feel free to poke holes in this. But I think it's figured out that humans have, and as Ty so wonderfully pointed out,
there's a non-official sequel. So
Oh,
yeah, it was just
okay.
like a fan-made thing called The Thing Returns from last year.
So as Ty pointed out, the good boy doggo, I have to wonder if it has figured out that is the easiest way for it to tail humans, because they don't adversely react to a dog. It's very
When it started to change.
yeah, and that's and it approaching the other dogs in the kennel when it just kind of laid down like, okay, now we're just here. So that's my theory. And so toward the end, when Blair takes its final form, when he tells Mac to watch, God, I forget the other character's name, but anyway, Booker. So that I think was a total misdirect. Which, I mean, it was a misdirect because I think Blair the whole time was like perfect. You know what I mean? Like he remained hidden.
I don't think Blair became infected until they left him alone in that room.
It ain't Fuchs. I'm not gonna harm anybody, and there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, I think Blair, between them, because that thing had no reason to destroy all that stuff. It still wanted to escape at that
Yeah,
point.
because it would want to go to the rest of the world, right?
So I
That
think
is a
Blair
good
was
point.
destroying all this stuff because he knew. He was ready to sacrifice himself and everyone
he
else
made the noose,
to make
but
sure.
he made the noose too.
Because he was going to kill himself.
Right.
But why didn't he do it? It's because that thing got to him.
That's true, and I guess
So
that's
it
the
must-
weird self-preservation thing.
It probably went out and brought him food. And that's...
Yeah,
Okay.
and honestly, toward the end, like when it starts crashing through the floorboards and it's like the size of a school bus,
Yeah.
I feel like, does it grow in size because of the just the sheer amount of mass that it is in?
That's my guess.
Because he probably swallowed.
He's 3 people in a relatively short
Yeah,
amount
he
of
got
time.
he got the older guy and the cook.
Yeah.
Grady and the cook. At that last point. So with those 3,
No foul.
it was trying to, at that point, become something capable of taking everyone else out.
Right.
Because it seems like no matter what it is doing, it's trying to adapt to the current situation it is in.
Yeah.
Almost like there's not a long con as much as there... I mean, there is still a long game, but at that moment, because it was having dog bids, it was having...
Well,
it was just ready
also
to take
opportunity.
shit down.
I mean, it's also opportunistic.
Right.
I think once it just got to that size, I don't know if it would have had difficulty becoming a human, or if it just was like, you know what, I'm so big, I'm the dominant thing now.
That actually,
So it's just going to end up just destroying everything out there.
that goes back to my thought earlier when they were like, because when they put it in with the dog and it started doing the stuff in there, and later when they thought they had killed it, they're like, it was trying to become the dog, but it was already a dog. It didn't have a reason to become a dog at that point.
Right.
What I think it was doing was it was dissolving them and eating them, and it was going to split apart into a pack of.
It could have been,
dogs.
yeah.
So like that what's it called?
Replicates.
So it replicates.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think once it has enough mass, it can. I mean, actually, at any point, obviously, it broke off as a head.
So the dog brought it in, and then like
The dog
pieces
was
of
in,
it
yeah.
like got into like the cells replicated into other people's cells, and then
It
it
licked
spread.
that guy's face at the beginning, which is funny because that's.
Yeah, that might have been a plot hole. Now that I think about that.
No, I think that's the whole reason they had it lick his face. Which guy was it? Did it lick first?
The big
though?
beard, the big bearded guy.
No, I think he came out second because he started talking to the dog
Oh,
after.
you're right. You're right.
So was it the scientist?
It was the guy who got shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
We'll have to double check.
they have. I can't remember though, because
Well, we know one guy for certain that was infected was the guy with the curly hair.
yeah, and but if you remember when the dog went into the table, the guy went, "Ow! Can you put this thing out with the other dogs?" Remember? So I think either the dog bit him or scratched him under the table.
Did he turn?
Oh,
He didn't
okay.
turn though. He was the one that
He got absorbed by the.
He
Tentacles.
got absorbed when they was checking out when they were locking that room up.
Right.
But he
well,
did.
yeah.
But he did like.
Maybe
I
that was
think the
just a
dog just
misdirect.
scared him. I think
Yeah,
because
okay.
that's the whole point. Is the film's brilliant about it because the film tries to make sure that you, as the audience, do not know who's infected until they reveal to you.
Masterfully done.
Nobody trusts anybody now.
The whole point is you're watching along with them, going, who is it?
I mean, I was convinced at one point that Mac really is going to end like he's just killing everybody.
It
and,
would have
like,
been a great plot twist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
I'm glad they
I was,
didn't do
I
it,
was
though.
convinced that's the way it was though. And it was just going to be like, and then like a helicopter was going to like arrive, and then he was going to be like, or something like that. So I had no idea who was who and what, and so like I would love to know. Like I want to do I want to see a breakdown of someone who's like an expert of the thing and like figure out who destroyed the blood, who did like who. Like I want to know breakdown who did what. In
Yeah, because
movie.
it couldn't have been Grady. Grady wasn't the one who broke in and got the blood, and it wasn't the doc because he got his arms bitten off. So the
So
only
was
person
it
who could have
Stoner
gotten
at
the
the
blood
time?
was the curly hair
The
guy.
stoner guy.
We don't know when the stoner guy got infected. Actually,
Oh,
I
so
know. I know. We know the large guy with the blue sweater. He was infected, I think, fairly early on.
I think so too.
The stoner got infected at some point. Who else?
Thomas Waits, not Tom Waits.
Fuse, or whatever his name was. He got
He got infected, but it was after we saw him get
Fuse.
killed.
Fuse killed himself, or he just killed himself, I think, or
Yeah. I think Fuse killed himself. Windows got killed, and then we saw him start to turn after he was killed.
Yeah, he was making that. gurgle.
So you'll be proud of me. You'll be really proud of me. So like, I always tell you I have no idea who characters are. Like,
Yeah.
in the middle of that movie, I was like, I'm gonna learn everybody's name, and then they did like little petri dishes with the names. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna learn these names. And there's a few that like I'm seeing like the cook was named like Nouse or something.
Well, yeah,
And I'm like,
nails.
Nails.
No,
no,
was it
But like,
pronounced
but the
Niles?
point is, if you said the name, I would know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And I was learning. But yeah, so
Blair
Yeah.
was the big guy.
yeah.
Was the dog guy.
Yeah,
But yeah, like when he said watch Childs, I didn't know Childs was the last survivor besides McCready. I thought it was the dog
Yeah,
guy.
Keith David.
I thought that was the dog guy. Just from the names. But
Right.
But yeah, no, it's definitely I'm really embarrassed I've never seen that. Because I like to consider myself a semi horror aficionado. And
Now, when
to have
did-
never seen that is insane.
Fair.
I want to go find that
You should
toy
be
now that I
ashamed.
didn't buy. I need to get that figure now.
When did you? So the part where they're testing the blood,
Mhm.
and the blood comes and shoots up out of the thing. I knew it was coming the first time I saw the movie because shot-wise, that was the one time we're seeing him hold the petri dish where we can't see,
and it wasn't a
we're
fake
looking
hand.
up
Oh, really?
at
So
it.
there's something underneath
So
it
you're
shooting
seeing
through?
him holding it like this, so his fingers are hiding it, and it was a fake hand, so it could come and shoot up out of it. Whereas all the other times
cool.
you're looking at them go down and touch the blood from the top.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
That's how
I
the
wasn't
first time I saw it, I'm
expecting
like,
that at
oh, that's gonna be it. So what was your when the blood shot up out of it?
Like, what was my thought, or what?
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it was coming, but I didn't, especially with the character it was. Like, I had no idea it was going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
I was too ingrained in, like, tense, and, like, there were a few things.
Did you think it was going to, of the 3 people tied up at that time, which one did you think it was going to be?
Eyebrows. Grady.
Grady?
Yeah.
Well, first time I saw it, I assumed it was going to be Grady.
I thought it was me, Grady.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
And it was a total misdirect. Like,
yeah.
and I loved how they would purposely make the demeanor of the character change, and it was funny because I feel like as a character in that headspace, like they sit there and start second guessing, like, am I infected?
Well,
And
yeah,
I
they
feel
look
like,
to relieve themselves because
yeah, and it's really funny because it's almost like the interrogation thing, where, you know, even if you didn't commit a crime, if you're interrogated for 19
Right.
hours, you may
You're
sit there
gonna
and go, Jesus, did I really do that?
Yeah, and
It had been, what, 2 to 3 days or whatever over the course of the whole thing.
that's the one thing haven't gotten a good
because at that
grasp on
point,
is how long.
Mac hadn't been to bed in at least at the very, like, in the entrance, he hadn't been to bed for 48 hours.
Storm's been hitting us hard now for 48 hours.
Yeah.
So he was going on at least 4 straight days of no sleep.
We saw one guy wanting to go to bed, and Nails kept him awake with the music.
Yeah.
And that's when everything started up. They were going to put the dog to bed, and so anyone who was going to try and sleep at that moment immediately got woken up. So no one slept after that.
Yeah.
Unless they were knocked unconscious.
you were talking about, like, the misdirecting and the acting and things like that. I just can't believe, like, how you said demeanors changed, and it was like I was thinking at some point, like, that the person that was infected would know they were infected, and be like Blair, like, he clearly was, like, informed, but, like, was killing people, but, like I didn't realize that, like, they didn't know that they weren't infected. So, like, when Curly had a guy with the open wound on his head that miraculously wiped later on.
Windows.
Yeah, Windows, yeah.
When Windows, like he was staring down, I was like, oh my god, he's it. And then, like, when it went through the blood test and it was perfect.
Yeah.
And, like, you saw his face change. You're just like, oh, he was fucking terrified. He was like, just relieved.
That's one thing I was actually wondering about is and it was never made clear. Does it kill you and replace you, or is it a slow takeover of your body?
The fact that it said assimilation, I'm thinking it's a
Right.
slow takeover to the point where it's finally fully in control.
But it
so
seems
it's
like
more than 50% of your cells are infected.
It can obviously do both, though, because it did kill Stoner,
Okay.
and he
So,
started.
I'm
his corpse started turning.
So
Right.
things are making sense now in my brain, and I could be wrong. But, like, I think, so they infiltrate, they assimilate, and then when they're ready to spread more, that's when they erupt. Is that what it is?
Seemed to be the case.
Okay, so
The dog at that point chose.
So he was dog. Dog was
Dog
a
was
thing.
going to eat the others and then split off into
More
multiple
dogs.
dogs.
and
Seemed
then
to be
and
the
then like
case.
and then if it saw a person from the dog form, it was gonna eat the person and then take the person's form. Or
whose room? Remember when the dog wandered into someone's room?
yeah,
That was the
was
curly
that?
oh
hair dude,
yeah,
wasn't it?
That-
So that was the
oh.
moment he was infected.
Yeah, and see, this
was
this
trying-
is this is why this is why I still kind of semi argue that the doctor was infected, and the reason I say that is because if you remember, and I know he went kind of nuts, but he was in that lab running. It wasn't clear if what they were seeing was a simulation of what was happening, or if
Right.
it was an observation through a microscope
Yeah.
that was just
I assumed
crappily digitized
just
for the
because
80s.
it did say projected information.
yeah.
I was assuming it was a simulation.
It could have been. I mean, but he was also the one. I don't recall if he was wearing gloves, but I know he wasn't wearing complete lab attire.
Well,
he was elbow deep into that thing
He
at one point.
touched that thing. I mean, yeah, several people did. One guy touched it with his eraser and then touched it to his mouth.
Right.
Like,
So-
yeah, people were just touching it. If it can just do it through cells like that, what's to keep it from breathing on you? Or are those cells too small?
I think it's probably some type of blood transfusion. We also have to remember the
Bloodborne
time.
pathogens.
Well, we also have to remember the time period that this came out in.
Yeah.
Because the thing, and you know, not to take it too dark, but these were the fears about AIDS in like the early 80s. Like
82, I thought this was a Cold War thing. It was the fear of Soviet corruption.
I'm sure it was a mix, but I think
Was
we
it that or
Was AIDS even
infiltration.
around in 82? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they knew. I mean, to the internet.
Was the thing about AIDS. I know that's not actually.
I know. Although I am
more
curious.
just I thought it would be a funny. What's the thing about AIDS?
You have to write John Carpenter too, or else I always have these problems when I like do like internet search on it.
Yeah.
And it's like it, and it's like, oh, Stephen King's It, and then like, or you have to write just Pennywise. And
Right. That's
It's just a
annoying.
pain in the butt.
What if John Carpenter's The Fog was actually a sequel?
To
The Thing. What if The Thing and The Fog was The Thing?
that's an interesting take.
John Carpenter's 1982 film is a social commentary on AIDS. Look at you!
I knew I wasn't
Wow.
completely dumb.
Once you started talking about like bloodborne and I was like, that's probably about it.
So, but
There's a DVD commentary by John Carpenter we need to watch.
we should have to watch that.
but I mean that also kind of answers the question as to why when the dude got licked, it didn't transfer,
Or it started
when he
slowly.
didn't have any wounds on his hands and they all touched it. Like
So we think that the dog going in the room was the curly guy.
That's probably where it
the
got
center guy.
that's
initially.
kind of where I'm thinking.
And then because
It probably bit him.
when he walked in, I thought it was gonna like "Erp," and like snap the dog's neck, and then it turns out it was the other way around. So
Right.
That would have actually been kind of interesting. If it wasn't the dog the whole time. Or it came in on the dog and it's like, oh, there's so many different ways that could have gone.
Well,
with it.
and
yeah.
this is one thing I finally realized during the movie. That using dynamite to dispose of the creature is probably
Terrible idea.
not a very good
it
idea.
would spread.
Well, first off, it
Yeah.
is no guarantee it's actually
You're creating
destroyed.
a biodebris field.
Biodebris field. I mean, we've learned that any cell of it escaping. When we saw the blood hit the ground and start to run away,
Yeah.
where'd those cells go? We didn't see exactly where they went. We didn't show them burn
so
them.
the fire was the best, but the dynamite
Fire's
was
the
not
best, but even then we saw a burned body still didn't. Okay. Probably one of my
It
biggest
had to
pet
burn
peeves
for
in
so
it
long. I
is
guess.
how often they lit something on fire and put it out before it had time to actually.
I know. I was like, why are you?
And then my
putting that
favorite
out?
was when Kurt Russell went, "Wait, okay, now do it." And it was like, so what? The extra 4 seconds is gonna do it? Like, I want
Sure,
this
if
thing.
it was just bacteria.
I
but
want this thing burned to a fine powder.
crisp.
Yeah, like
Crisp.
they had thousands of gallons of kerosene there.
Yeah.
I would have started. You would have seen that thing from space.
Yeah.
Like I just would have had a crater in the ice.
If it wasn't for a risk of it spreading through the ventilation system, I'd throw it in the furnace.
Yeah, actually, that was one thing that I was really surprised that they didn't do. You know, like throw it,
Yeah. except you
incinerate,
breathe
like
it in
like the
and-
dog's body or something.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden, like
Now we're all infected
Right.
because cells of it escaped without
Yeah.
burning somehow. It seemed like even the smallest cell of it, it knew how to build spaceships. It's a highly intelligent thing.
right, and that's what like, you know, in like the doctor's notebooks about it, you know, having replicated millions of times through millions of species through millions of years, whatever, like.
Of course, that's actually a complete assumption. For all we know, it could have been an experiment on that ship.
That's true.
It could have been like the film Aliens, where the thing on the ship was not the native creature
Right.
on the ship. It could have been an experiment.
It's a good point. And then I sincerely wish that you know, eventually it gets to the point where it can start replicating, like, you know, spaceship, that type of thing, and then we
Yeah.
get the connection to Event Horizon.
Love it. That would be a great time.
Fanfic, but still, man, what a storyline that would be one hell of an arc.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I would watch that all day.
I still would really have loved a tie-in between Event Horizon and Hellraiser.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would have been the perfect. 'Cause
Yeah.
Hellraiser 4 goes. Okay, we are completely going off on the
anyway.
right tangent.
So,
We gotta stop that
I
one.
want to go back to the beginning now.
Yeah.
So it's so funny how that intro is done so perfectly that like you just think he's like some jerk drunk and like shooting a dog, and then you go back and it's like, oh, he was trying to prevent this whole thing from happening, and that's so cool. And like when he blew himself up, you're like, yes, good, threat averted. And it's like, oh, no.
Whoops.
The only reason why I didn't think that first time I saw it is there just felt like such a sense of urgency in what they were doing. Like they seemed desperate to kill that dog.
and I think that's true because like they were circling so much where they could have just really hovered and like had a better shot.
Worse shot than Stormtrooper.
Well,
I think they were
like
panicking.
I was thinking about that. Like, it would have been easier to land, leave the rotors
Go
going,
ahead of it,
and shoot the like
But
on
yeah,
like
they weren't thinking because they were just
sitting,
trying to
and then
panicking.
and they only tried explosives toward the end. I would have been.
even though the dude was very clearly throwing smoke grenades.
Yeah, that was one thing I was kind of weird about.
Yeah, it was like
The way the guy accidentally threw one backwards was the dumbest death in the entire film. Like what? That's
Like,
the dull machete of the dead meat.
I always try
Yeah.
to like justify things, and I thought like maybe his gloves were frozen, so like it
That's
slipped
the
out.
only thing I could think.
But yeah, like it was kind of cheesy. Like
Glad you mentioned that. That was one thing in the film that just a detail that I thought they got so perfect was how often you saw people's snot frozen in their beard, because that's what happens when you're out there in -100 degrees.
where was this? I really want to know where that
Antarctica?
was filmed at.
Oh,
Like, because
Yeah.
I mean, it was legitimately cold. I mean, because you could see breath almost like every scene that they were outdoors.
actually, there was a couple times you didn't, and that's why I knew there were a couple times I'm like, it's not that cold outside, because there was a couple scenes.
Some of them,
three
sure,
of them
was
are
studio.
standing,
Yeah.
and it was at night, so you should have, and there was no breath coming out of their mouths. So I'm going, it's not cold there.
So
There wasn't one woman in this entire film. That was a sausage
wow.
fest of a horror film.
wow.
How often have you seen an 80s horror film without a buxom female
Okay.
getting killed by a monster?
I know what I
Well,
was gonna say.
Love
I mean, if it was in connection with the Carpenter's commentary on AIDS, I mean, it mostly affected gay men.
No, you're right.
Absolutely,
You're absolutely right, though.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
So when the movie started, aside from the first opening scene, like when it was just like world building and like character
Yes.
building, I was like, oh man, this movie is really bad. Like,
Really?
like the way it was filmed and like and edited, like there was just like these times where it's like, that was a bad cut. That's a bad cut. And then like once like the action starts, it's like all that was gone. It
You
was
mean
weird.
when the planes come in? When the
So just like everything before the dog exploding, everything was badly edited.
really?
Yeah.
I never picked up on that.
I
Like
didn't either.
I mean,
Because the way it's shot is, it seemed like it was shot on purpose, a way to make you never feel comfortable,
And it was almost
was-
like a frantic.
frantic and unsettling.
I noticed some Star Wars level transitions.
Yes, there were a
And
couple of
I
those.
also
yeah,
noticed
that's
like
that,
I also
yeah.
noticed some
I
just
will
like
give you that.
I also noticed just some
Story
weird
way.
like they would just hang on a character too long, and it's like, why? are
See,
you
I
doing
thought that was on purpose. I thought that was to build tension.
I didn't get that.
It's almost
Or-
like a Kubrick thing.
Right, because there's a subtle feeling behind all of it of not to a little on the nose, but an alienness
Yeah.
of everything, where it felt to me the music, the pacing, it always felt to me like it was trying to keep you from ever being comfortable. You never let your guard down throughout that film.
And that's the fun of it though, because it's there was never, I mean, you know, short of the first few minutes when Mac was just kind of hanging out in the Mac shack,
Yeah,
like
Mac
all of a
and-
sudden it was just like
Mac
you
and
know,
chess.
once he got up and took the bottle of J&B with him, he didn't go back.
Film starts.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, although I did think it was really weird that they didn't detail any of the activities that happened or figure out why the light was on in his shack.
I think it was all red. It was all okay. So I
know
had
that
thought
was
about
probably
that. It was
to
all
stash
Blair
his
the
shirt.
whole way.
Yeah.
It was Blair was the one who did that. I also think Blair's probably the one that killed that guy. That guy didn't kill himself.
Yeah, I think he totally
Blair
rigged it.
killed him as a way to throw them off.
Yeah.
And he hid the remnants of Mac's shirt, which he tore on purpose to take the trail off of himself.
Well, and I'm curious because if you remember, Mac was detailing everything on that recording.
Yes, he said he was going to hide it.
Do you think it's possible that that's where he hid it? Is in the burner in his thing, and maybe that's why Blair was in there?
No, only because I feel like the whole thing with him talking there was just exposition.
It could have been.
I don't think there was a deeper thing behind it, but I am very interested in watching it with the commentary now just to find out if all these thoughts
Yeah, for sure.
hold weight.
So we'll do that. We'll do that soon then. That sounds fun.
It'll be worth it.
What was your favorite kill?
I think it's the chest. That was amazing.
Defibrillator.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I did also really love.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's all the same scene. Never mind. Are the heads separated? Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's not a
That's
kill.
good,
It's just an effect. It's a
Yeah.
effect you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that was really awesome.
Definitely one of the.
The most over the top one was the stoner guy eating windows.
That's my
Pac-Man
favorite.
his head.
That's my favorite when it's
Yeah.
just two human, like a Gemini walking around,
Yeah.
like banging on the ceiling tile.
I leaned over
I
to Leopold and I said,
still laugh at that.
I said, that's what happens when you put your heads together.
Yeah. And it still cracks me up when
Oh.
curly-headed dude's head tries to take off in the hallway, and they're like, and all of a sudden everybody just kind of turns around.
Son of a bitch.
What the hell?
I love the fact that aliens stopped to look at them.
Yeah, the eye
I'd have
stalk.
just kept going.
Yeah.
So the body they found, that was like someone that was already assimilated. Because they were no. I'm sorry. The very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Where there's like
Oh.
two heads, and they said this
Yes,
is a
that
person.
was one of the ones that was turning that they burned. That the Norwegians burned, because clearly this entity had already split off at that point.
Yeah.
So they had the body, at that point it was starting to become human. It was starting to split off into multiple humans.
Yeah, that's why there's two heads.
It was coming from dog, I think, to that.
What was
They found it, killed it, but there was still one dog left.
what was in the big block of ice that they removed?
It itself.
Like that was
The thing.
That was the
itself.
thing itself.
Because it looked to be when the ship crashed, it came up out of the ship,
The hatch
started
was
to go away, and it passed out in the ice and was frozen, and that's
And
the block they found.
And so the prequel shows that story, basically.
Yes, that's
Okay.
the prequel,
Okay.
which has
I like
a woman
it.
in it.
Because AIDS
Progressive.
hadn't started yet.
Well, the prequel's from
I know.
only 10 years ago.
I know.
True.
Um,
Did Mac's hat really make anyone crave Arby's? Or
No,
was it just me?
just
always
you.
craving Arby's, so.
That
It wasn't-
hat.
It didn't remind me of
It
that,
looks
but-
like the old Stetson from the Arby's sign.
what I hate so much about Arby's is they got rid of the one thing that I did crave. It was the potato cakes. The potato cakes was the item I craved.
This is super helpful.
How did
You
this
look
happen?
like James Hatfield. Yeah.
All right, so closing thoughts.
Let's start back at the beginning. I can't. There were no special effects I actually had any complaints about,
Oh no. It's
other
fantastic.
than how and you, because you had mentioned earlier there were some things that didn't hold up, and obviously I think it was how plasticky the first body they found was.
Yeah, that was a little.
It was a little plasticky,
Under
especially
par,
for something
oddly,
that
for
was
the movie.
burned.
Is it supposed to look like thawing flesh though?
That's what I
That's what I
Yeah.
was wondering,
'Cause
because
I mean, it does look waxy and discolored.
but it didn't look burned. It didn't look burned at all.
the bottom part maybe. or
Yeah,
the, back.
the bottom, the insides look burned, and when they opened it up, there was all this smoke coming off it we didn't see before. Was that heat from it still?
It could have been.
I honestly, with how it looked, I would not have brought that inside.
I don't know.
I would have left it outside.
The only
would've,
thing,
yeah.
the only thing that I
Or
did,
take it to that shed out in the back or
the
something.
only effect that I didn't like was like the tentacles that were like clearly CGI'd in, or like green screen, blue screened in, like where it's like coming to the
Oh,
floor.
At the very end.
Oh,
yeah.
that scene, yeah.
Like-
but that was kind of felt Evil Dead when the monster
Yeah,
erupts on
yeah.
the
But
ground.
like I love how they made like the
Rotoscope or
tentacles
whatever.
like they could have.
That,
Like,
I
wish
love
they, I
that
wish they would have just
alienness
done a bigger
to it.
one, like
Yeah.
instead of making it like whatever
Yeah.
claymation animated or whatever.
It was
was.
kind of just like rubber tubing that they were
Yeah.
pumping air through, and it was just going
It's,
fucking nuts.
they actually can just use surgical tubing
yeah.
and just put various coats of whatever over it.
So what they do, like blow air into that or something?
It looked
like,
that
yeah.
way.
That was
just
so
from
cool.
It doesn't take much air to get it to
excellent
stand up.
sound
And
too.
Every time that we cuss in this video, I'm going to replace it with the sound.
and we're done.
No, this is almost every video we do together.
Perfect ending.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
There was no seeing it wiggle onto an airplane at the end. There was no.
I love the ambiguity of it.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
They're gonna die. They're gonna die. The
Some way.
two people that hated themselves the most are the two that lived till they didn't live anymore.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say this is definitely a high watch suggestion.
Definitely.
If we were to rate it out of 5, I would give this a 4.8.
I was going to say 7, so yeah.
Yeah.
4.7.
Yeah, if we were doing 10, I would say a 9.
This is why we don't do numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta rank it.
Yeah.
I gotta rank
Yeah,
it.
we're not-
4.8.
We've got to actually come up with like a ranking system if we're gonna do
Maybe
ranks.
like popcorns or something.
Or we could just thumbs up, thumbs
2
down.
kernels.
It's a watch. It's not a watch.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Good idea.
I loved it.
I loved it.
I'm so happy you finally. I'm so happy we were here for your first viewing of it.
Yeah.
And let me just say, like, if say like you like watched at our house, like my phone would be out.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Seeing an
That's
old,
why it's
Yeah.
important.
seeing an old movie in
In the theaters makes so much more-
It's,
yeah.
it's amazing. Like
there's
my-
so much less
like,
temptation to do things with
My
your hands.
phone would have been out. Like it's just how
Because
it is.
you would have hit a moment where nothing was happening. You would have went, let me
Yeah.
check this real quick.
Yeah. So I mean, there's several times I was like, "Who is that guy? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know."
That's
So that
that's the
happens.
other temptation is I want to
Yeah.
get on IMDb.
It's like I'm not gonna do that in the movie theater.
It takes me and my dad to watch a 1-hour TV show with me and my dad. Sometimes takes 3 hours because of how often we're pulling up IMDb to go.
Mhm.
Where was this guy from?
It's a
Who was
curse.
this guy from?
Sucks.
But I love it.
I do too.
I love it.
sucks.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Absolutely watch it.
Did you hit your head?
So,
Something hit your head.
I might be Ty.
Oh, I'm definitely Brandon.
I'm still Dan.
Bye.
We're by anxiety.